Let's see what we got going on. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. I think we're good to go. And we're on YouTube. If you want to link to the show, check us out on Bread and Hova Facebook group page. And there's a link there. And it'll probably take you to the YouTube and and hopefully I can we can go ahead to go ahead. Oh, so it's on StreamYard. Okay, cool. So welcome to Bread and Hova Show. Hoping that we can get Steve to join in tonight. This is your boy Bread. If you don't know about us, haven't been a part of the show, we are based in Atlanta, Georgia. And we talk about sports, all types of sports, mostly football, basketball, everything, baseball, whatever's hot. Primarily in the state of Georgia. But wherever you're from, feel free to give us a call or tune in and let us hear about, you know, where you're from, you know, what you're into in terms of the sports scene and what you like. And so we'd be glad to hear it, you know, unless you're a Saints fan. So, you know, we only let y'all in during hate week. So, so, so look, that's how we do that. That's how we do it. So look, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep going on. I want to give a shout out to Dirty Bird Nation, Falcons 1st and 10, NFC South, Trash Talk, folks over there, and for joining us and supporting the show, that kind of a thing. So thanks for joining us. And if you want to go ahead and post something in the chat, feel free to post something in the chat. And we can definitely see what it is and try to respond to it. So I wish I knew what that music was. We got to do more practice on this stuff. But I'll y'all hanging there with me. It's gonna be a short show tonight, so just wanted to make sure that we talked about a couple of things. I'm just gonna kind of jump on into it. There's a lot of stuff that happened over the weekend. Oh, Steve, what up, Steve? What's going on, Steve? And I wish that I could. Can you hear me, Steve? Give me a yes. Type me on a yes if you can hear me, Steve. And I can probably I tell you what. Let me get and I am in. Oh, good, cool. I'm glad you can at least hear me, and I can invite you. I'm gonna drop a link in here in this way. Hopefully, I'm gonna drop it in the chat, Steve, and hopefully we can make you part of the show. Yeah. So see if that link works. If it drops you inside of the show, if it shows you. But I think as long as you can hear it, I think you're good to go. But I wanted everybody to at least hear you. So, but as long as you can hear me, you can still chat. I think we'll be good to go. So what I wanted to do, y'all, is I wanted to talk about. I know we're talking about the NBA championships, and we're gonna get into that. But this past weekend, we had a pretty competitive. Well, it was competitive early boxing match. We had Tank Davis versus Frank the Ghost Martin, you know, for the lightweight championship of the world. And so both guys were undefeated. Okay, and it was interesting because I had to put Frank's nickname in there, Frank the Ghost Martin, because Tank Davis came out, yeah, at least the first part of his intro, he came out with Ghostbusters. So I thought that was real cool, coming out with Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Tank Davis to bust him up. So guys, you know, if you didn't see the fight, it's actually a pretty good fight. Pretty competitive. And I see you, Steve. I see you, Steve, and I'm going to add you to the stage. Boom, Steve, you're on.
We in the
So,
building.
yes, sir.
There
Yes, sir.
we go.
Yes. Yes, this is so much easier than the other platform we were on, Steve. I mean, it sounds better, voices sound stronger, and it's just easier to maneuver and join people in and enjoy the show. So thanks for joining the show, brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, did you happen to see that fight this weekend?
I did not. I only saw the highlights of it.
Ah, I
Yeah,
get
it
well,
looked like it was a
well,
good one.
yeah. Well, highlights pretty much all you needed to see. Uh, it was pretty good. I think it was competitive early on. I think that the first couple of rounds, I think that Steve Martin, I call him Steve Martin, but Frank Martin, he pretty much, uh, he kept it close. He had a nice jab, and he kept it close, and he kept jabbing him, kept him away. Had pretty good footwork, that kind of a thing, and Tank Davis actually had kind of a layoff before this fight, so. He shined him up a little bit, caught him with a couple of shots early. But anybody that's seen a Tank Davis fight knows that this guy starts slow. He's kind of like Floyd. He'll fill you out. He'll start take the first 4, maybe 5 rounds, fill you out. Then once you got it, then he'll start to mount his attack, which is almost
That's what he
unstoppable.
did.
That's what he
Okay.
did, man. That's what he
That's
did, man. So between round 6 and 9, I know you were probably asleep, man, because it was a late fight, man. It was late, but
exactly.
I was texting Hover, and I was just like, man, this ain't gonna last 12 rounds. This is a 12-round fight. I said, man, this thing ain't gonna last 12 rounds, and it did not. It lasted only 8, and Tank knocked this kid out, man. He caught him with a sweet uppercut because he kept going against the ropes. He kept getting into the corner, kept finding himself in the corner, couldn't get out of the corner, man. Tank Davis gave him an uppercut, pretty much a punch he couldn't see, and he didn't recover from it, man. And then he had a left overhand while he was against the ropes and just knocked him out for the count, man. It was textbook. It was so
That's
good.
all right.
It was so good, man. It was so that's why I like boxing. But I think this is good for the sport because you got Lomachenko and some other guys, man. Maybe Shakur Stevenson. I think he's lightweight, holds the other belt. So you got a couple guys out there, man. That's this thing could get heated up by November, man. Boxing is back. So
It's back for the winner.
boxing is back, man. So we keep our eyes on that, man. And the Tyson fight, was called off. It was postponed, they say. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Tyson's a little injured or something. What's the delay? What's going on with Tyson? Health?
He had something going on. I forgot what the injury was, but he had an injury and he had an episode on the plane before the fight, medical episode. So yeah, he needed some medical attention and they just called it off. It just wasn't worth it. I hope they don't put it back on. I mean, it's kind of a fight. I really wasn't looking forward to it, really. I mean, Tyson has nothing else to prove. He's in a different space right now, but I know he loves to fight, and I mean, that's what he likes to do, but he doesn't have to do it, put bread on the table.
I know, exactly.
Yeah. And, nobody really, everybody kind of embraces him because he has a pretty interesting podcast. He's into the, selling the legal marijuana and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, man. I don't know, Steve, man. Tyson's in another space, and me, I embrace him in this new space. Don't need to see him lace him up anymore. And Paul, man, Jake Paul just need to he needs to find somebody else, to kind of make some money with it or on. This ain't it.
I definitely agree. Tyson is a legend, like you say. He's proven himself, especially at his prime. But when you look at a fight like this, I would probably have one hand over my eye and the other one still looking because you can't not watch it, right? So you're like, no,
right.
But you just never. I mean, he
Right.
may show up and show out,
That's true.
But being that, that health scare came up, now you're thinking like, okay, will there be something again? What's the next move? So you definitely like, I wish he'll take a gentleman's bow and let Jake go with someone else.
I agree, man. I agree, man. Take a bow. Go somewhere else with it, man. Go somewhere else with it. I wish you would. But at any rate, man, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, the great Willie Mays, rest in peace. Condolences to him, to his family and friends and all, man. 93 years old, man, one of the greats,
wow.
if not the great. One of the greats, if not the greatest.
Exactly. Yeah, he really, I mean, talking about being around and just having his footprint on the baseball world, that is, and to live the life we've lived through all these generations, through everything that has occurred here in America. So and to be recognized, and then the passed just before Juneteenth.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're right, man. And true legend of the game. He started in the Negro Leagues, and I thought it was very interesting because just recently, baseball, MLB, has officially included the records of Negro League players.
Oh, wow.
And included that record, with Major League Baseball. So a lot of people, Ty Cobbs and and everybody else of the like, those records is all inclusive. And for many years, baseball has kept those records, to put them to the side like they didn't matter. For many generations. And finally, you got technology is incredible. There were always, some record keeping or some shady record keeping, but in terms of folk not wanting the truth to get out, in terms of how good Negro League players were, just as good, if not better, and Willie Mays is proof of that, and many others. And a lot of the stuff that was crazy. That couldn't have happened in Negro League. Nobody does that. But they were kept silent. We it's though we didn't matter, didn't want us to matter for so many years. And now to see things come full circle, to say, hey, you matter, those records matter, the work that the Negro League players put in, it matters. It matters to us, it matters to the game. And they were good enough to play, and it wasn't their fault, that it was a Negro League. It should have just been baseball. It should have just been a baseball and just kind of like what it is now. And so, but it was not. And so we like we always do, we just make the best of a bad situation and turn around. We've always done that. Our culture has always done that. And so that just makes me proud. So in celebration of Juneteenth, I just wanted to bring that up. You have a choice to be proud. We have a choice to be proud of us, our family, our legacy, our heritage, our culture. We have a choice. That is a choice, and so, and I am, and so I'm just glad, and we'll highlight a little bit more, hopefully throughout the year on the show, accomplishments that we just don't need a day or Black History Month to pay homage to great sports figures in our culture. And so it's just we're great, just like everybody else, and so we just want to put it out there. So I just thought it was just very timely.
I agree, and that's correct. Well said.
Yeah,
so
thank you, brother.
Paved the way. Yeah, so many people have paved the way, and we are able to be living to witness these great achievements and accomplishments, and just people are doing things now that we never would have thought about years ago, but they had that vision and it came to fruition.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Now we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Started from the bottom, not a home teams here.
Exactly.
So yeah, man. So yeah, good deal. Changing gears a little bit, man. So word on the street is Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank going to be inducted in the Falcons Ring of Honor. What you think about that, Steve?
Well, I mean, Matt, I think we look at it in two different ways. I heard something on a neighboring station, and they mentioned one thing that we didn't capture with Matt is the fact that not Julio, but the Mike Vick and everything that was happening. Matt brought some calmness and leadership, and it's not like he was, what should I say? He did make, like in the very beginning, he was a stabilized quarterback that was making some pretty good plays. He made us competitive, but he was like a leader, and the timing was perfect because it was kind of chaotic in the city of Atlanta with all the stuff that had going on, and he was kind of like a one that they planted him in, and he took leadership, and it was a little bit more. It stabilized the Falcons. At that time, he had, and he, as far as a Falcon himself, he did, as far as the records and the stuff that he did, he did build a stat book. So I'm not going to say when I go back, I'm thinking of the Steve Barkowski, and some of those other ones. But Matt actually has done the long haul, believe it or not. Even though, I mean, as far as Atlanta is concerned, I mean.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, you always say, man, if Vic would have had some more time in the room, the film room, and got a little bit more seasoned, he could have done the same, as well. But he didn't have a defense to help him out. But anyway, well, when we talking about Matt now, I didn't mean to flashback to Vic.
You can't help it, man. You can't help it. Yeah. Enjoying it to help.
Now Blank, on the other hand, this is new for him. He kind of took advice from other owners, and he invested in what they was telling him. It's kind of like the stock market. He like, I've never done this before. What should I invest in? And that's kind of what seemed like what he did. Now, one thing that he did know about, he understood the Home Depot. So he found prices. He rebuilt the stadium. The money that he made, I'm talking about, when I say money, I'm talking about to drop the prices in the concession stand and still make the money and the revenue that they're making. So he was a business. So the businessman, he got it. As far as personnel, he couldn't quite get that together as far as Atlanta Falcons. He did pretty good with Atlanta United. They're taking a little dive right now, but he did make something happen that way. So what's your take on that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I started with Arthur Blank first. I just thought it was kind of weird for an owner to be in the Ring of Honor. I mean, the host. But I thought about it a little bit deeper. Look, he Arthur Blank will not be the owner of the Atlanta Falcons forever. Okay, there will be a new owner of the Atlanta Falcons one day. And with that, with all the reasons that you mentioned, Steve, is what Arthur Blank has brought to the city of Atlanta that Rankin Smith did not. Smith family did not. And it was just some kind of investment they wanted to do on the side, make some money. I think it was cool to own a football team, but they really didn't invest in it the way Arthur Blank has. And they really didn't have, I guess, that passion, that you see that Arthur Blank has for the team and for the city and everything and the fans, all of that roll into one. So I think, give him his flowers while he's still here. Because when he's gone and the posthumously, put him in the Ring of Honor, maybe cool for his family, but he didn't get to enjoy it. So give him his flowers while he's here. So I'm cool with it from that perspective. Matt Ryan, look, man, I agree with everything you said, Steve. You hit the nail on the head, man. He added stability and leadership to the franchise. We was all over the place with this Mike Vick thing, man. And obviously, he wasn't everybody's. Everybody wanted Glenn Dorsey. Fast forward, where's Glenn Dorsey now? I actually wanted Flacco out of Delaware because I actually saw him play, and I just thought he was a better quarterback. But either or, we got him, and he's an MVP. He was our first MVP of the league. Falcons did not have an MVP,
That's true.
Matt Ryan was our first MVP. So we said, Falcons, y'all don't even have anybody in, MVP of the league. So definitely Matt Ryan, is going to get in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't know about that. But he is definitely a Hall of Famer. We're going to see him on television talk about it as a commentator, which I think he's going to fit perfectly because he's smart. He's a student of the game. He knows it very well. We've gotten a taste of him announcing games and in the background in the studio. So I think he's made for it. So with him being in the Ring of Honor, why would you not put him in there as soon as possible? So I think it's cool. And I just be honest, while Matt played, I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest. Let me put it this way. He wasn't my favorite Falcon. I put it. He wasn't my favorite Falcon. Let me put it that way. But I didn't hate him at all. I mean, you can't hate your own player. He plays for your team. You can't. How does that work? But he wasn't my favorite Falcon when he played. But I really liked my favorite Matt Ryan years was his rookie year was my favorite year. So I thought he had a very good rookie year. And obviously the Super Bowl year, man, I just thought he played out of his mind that year.
Yes, I do agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, those 2 years just really stand out to me. So I'm good. I'm good with it. So look, man, shifting gears again a little bit. Let's talk about this basketball. We just finished the championship. I wrote some stuff on the Bread and Hover show, and on our Facebook page, and I just thought it just kind of, I don't know, Steve. I just thought it was a very interesting. No, let me take that. Let me quit lying, man. This was probably the worst. It was probably the worst championship series that I've seen in quite some time. It was non-compelling. It was just really a bad matchup for the Dallas Mavericks all the way. It wasn't good, man. And so my biggest thing, man, let me read to you what I wrote on the Facebook page. I sent a post the day after the game, after Boston won, 5-1, 5 games to 1. And when they lost that big game in Dallas, about, I don't know, 40, 50 points, it's like, man, they couldn't have made it any obvious that they threw that game. They didn't care about it. And they wanted to win this thing in Boston.
At home. There you
At
go.
home, right. It was just painfully obvious. But I said, Hawks fans, how are we feeling this morning? Not a fan of the Celtics, but congrats to them cats anyway. Got to give it up to them for having a winning tradition in their organization that spans through many generations. Lakers can say the same thing, and many of us are still trying to figure it out. So, my takeaways from the championship was Brown is from the A, went to Wheeler High School, so he got him a chip. Second takeaway is Al Horford played for one of the best Hawks teams that we've ever seen, even though Dominique was our guy. But Al Horford played technically for one of the best teams that was assembled in Atlanta, and he left us the right way. And number 3 is my third takeaway is Luka is still ringless. So
there you go.
so look, man, as a Hawks fan, you gotta take what you can get. And there was a lot of stuff going around, everybody, saying that, Atlanta lost the Luka trade thing. It's like, well, it's obvious that, Luka's the better player. They're in the championship, and we picked the wrong guy. And I had to sit back. And I know I'm throwing a lot out there, and I kind of shifted to Luka a little bit, and I'm gonna pull it back and get back to the championship, but here in Atlanta we feel in some kind of way, cause and I try to tell people, if look at how we built around Trey, and look at how Dallas built around Luka. Okay, I'm fine if you want to say that Luka's a better player than Trey. Okay, I'll let you have that. Fine, but Trey ain't trash. Trey is a very good player. Very, very good player. And in my opinion, he's not that far from Luka. But Luka's a bigger guy. He brings more to the table, that position, yada, yada, yada. But look at how both franchises have built around these players. And what I see is that Dallas has done a much better job than Atlanta has building around Trey. I think we've done a horrible job building around Trey. You go out there and you pick up DeJounte Murray, which was, and okay, you pick him up, but I think you gave up too much for him. I thought we probably could have gotten him for less, and if they didn't want to let go of him, then fine, you move on somewhere else and get you a big man. But we didn't do that. We gave up the farm for DeJounte Murray. Both of them are good players in the backcourt, but they haven't found out how to play well together, and we haven't really built a front court for Trey anyway. And so I think there's an imbalance. That's why we're not doing that well. We're not, DeAndre Hunter should have been gone a long time ago. He's taking up space. Bogey doing what he can off the bench, but you're not deep on the bench. You don't really have any legit starters in the front court. So Clint Capella got to go. So we don't have any legit starters in the 4 and 5 hole. And so you look at Dallas and them getting Kyrie Irving, and them they let go Porzingis, but still they got Lively, and then they got Washington, in the mix doing free agency. So they used the draft, some free agency, and some different things to build around Luka in a successful way. Because I think that if we went ahead and we didn't get Trey and redrafted Luka as planned, I think Luka will still be sitting at home watching these playoffs and watching these championships at home if he played for the Hawks. Because I don't
spot on. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just saying, man, because I don't think we've done a great job in our front office. That's the problem. And I keep trying to tell people the problem with the Hawks is more so the front office than it is Trae Young. But Trae Young is getting all the heat. He gets the heat in terms of how he act. You don't talk to the media. Him and the fans, what he posting on social media and what he not posting, his leadership or lack of leadership, all kinds of criticisms about Trae Young. But he should go, he should be traded. And then what? Because to me, I'm afraid to trade. I don't want to make any sudden movements, but you know why? Because I am afraid. I think that our GM is incompetent. Okay. So I don't, Landry Fields, don't know him personally, but the thing about it, I don't think we have done a great job when he's been at the helm. Actually, we haven't done much since Danny Ferris has left.
Exactly.
I just be honest. So some folk feel some kind of way about that. I hate to bring that up on Juneteenth, but I'm just saying, I'm just being real. So let me reel it back in before I get too far out there. Get back in the car, man. What you think about that? I'm gonna get back to the Celtics, because I just started the series just really wasn't anything to talk about unless you were a Boston Celtics fan. If you're a Boston Celtics fan, yeah, there's a lot to talk about number 18 and blah 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 blah. Jaylen Brown gets the MVP, yada yada. Tatum, yada yada. Who cares, But that's why I had to bring up the Trey Luka thing, because this is how we feel, and we in Atlanta. This is what we talk about in Atlanta, more so than anything. It's this. So I'm gonna start right there, Steve. What you got on? I've been talking too much. What you got on that Trey Young, Luka kind of thing, and with him being in the championship?
Now, honestly, you spot on. I actually I played it in my head over and over when I saw Luka in the championship, and I was going back and forth, about Trey, and I kind of agree with you that Atlanta's offense, like we haven't invested in the players to surround the with Trey. We didn't put enough pieces, and DeJounte, we thought we had a piece, another good good piece, which he was, but he and Trey kind of play the same role, so they're not playing together and bouncing off each other like Jalen and Tatum. So, to your point, of course, Celtics are winning franchise, and the Hawks, we've been in a drought. We've been in a drought for some years. And well, with the exception of, let's go back to what the Al Horford when they took the Celtics to seven games.
Yeah,
the Celtics won that year, believe it or not.
Yeah,
well, we took them
Celtics.
7. Yeah, in the playoffs.
Man. 7 games, man, and it was the Celtics. The Celtics been sticking it to it. That's why it's hard for me to root for the Celtics for anything, because they've been sticking it to us forever. They stuck it to us back then with KG and those guys, and they stuck it to us, with Bird and McHale when we had Dominique. It's like whatever team we had, there was always a notch better.
Yeah, exactly.
And, there's always a notch better. And so that's why it was really hard for me to just have, in terms of the rooting interest, why it was just like bad and worse. No rooting interest whatsoever. But so I found Nuggets, and most of my Nuggets kind of landed me on the side of the Celtics. And so I think the Celtics, man, I don't have as much hate for the Celtics as I did years ago. Because look, Al Horford, everybody loves Al Horford. I think he's a good player, solid veteran. I like Jaylen Brown. I think he's a solid player. He took over. He deserved that MVP. Without him, I don't, maybe this thing's a lot closer without him.
That's true.
Because Tatum is being inconsistent. I like Tatum, but Tatum, I don't know, man. He just, I can't put my finger on it, man. It's kind of like, I hate to call him a front runner or a carpetbagger. I think that's a bit harsh. But what I'm trying to say is, when the team needs him most, he don't show up. They need his point production. They need him, playing defense. They need him to step up and be a true leader. But when those times came, Jaylen Brown, Brown was the one that stepped up, not Tatum. Tatum did some things, but Tatum was best when they already had the lead. So after all the work that been done, they done came back. Brown brought them back after they got a 10-point lead. Now Tatum gonna wake up after they got the lead. So he gonna stretch the lead from 10 to 20. So but I think skill-wise, the brother is good. Ain't no doubt he got skills, but it's like, where's the heart? Where's the leadership when they down by 10, not when they up by 10? That's just my thing. Now Boston fans will see it a total different way. They're going to explain it. They're going to Boston explain it away. And I expect that from Boston fans. They will self-explain this thing and put a whole twist on it. But that, looking from a basketball observer, looking at this thing from the outside in, I think that Holiday was more of a factor than Tatum, especially in
Tatum. Yeah, Tatum has struggled in the playoffs. He regular season he does contribute towards the winningness and put them in a top seed, etc. But the playoffs, he just now this year, of course, they got over the hump. They made some good moves for Porzingis, Holiday, and they were able to overcome that hurdle. And Tatum did contribute in some games, but overall, just watching him, as skillful and talented as he is, you expect when the lights are bright for him to deliver. And sometimes his lights are dim. I don't know if he just clocks out or the moment's too big, but he has made a step. He made a step, meaning that with a team effort, but he, like you say, they had a 10-point lead. He did drop 10. If you go back the other championship game, he really was. He wasn't present. You were looking for it. So he's made a step. So maybe, well, actually, we don't want to promote Boston, but I was going to say maybe in the years to come, he's going to start being that game changer. But you got some guys coming. There's some young guys, some Ant-Mans, and some other guys that are coming that are gonna be the new faces of the NBA. LeBron gonna have to bow down and see if his son can get picked here. But I know I just strayed away from where we were, but
no, I feel you. I feel
right.
you. I mean, you hitting on all cylinders, man. I mean, I get it. And we'll see. I mean, back-to-back championship, that's tough to do. Yet alone just showing up, winning back-to-back is tough. So the Celtics you got to stay healthy. There's a lot of factors there, man. Do they really know what it takes to win, or was it just a good matchup for them? Because I think that the Indiana Pacers was a much better series than this one.
That's true.
I thought that the Dallas Minnesota series was much better, and so I thought the conference finals or the semifinals was much better than the finals themselves. I mean, this finals was just horrible because I just think it was just a bad matchup. It couldn't have been a worse matchup for Dallas.
I thought Dallas would give it more of a run than what they did. I was thinking, well, you said the bad matchup, but the reason I was thinking that Dallas would play a better series is the way they played Minnesota, and I'm looking at Minnesota that took down Denver. So I was like, wait a minute, okay, we might have something here. So, but like I think some people saying it was just flip floppy. It just kept going flip flop. I'm talking about the series. And then when we finally got there, you're like, this might be a good matchup. Especially Kyrie, he was playing out of his mind. The series before this one. So, but something happened. I don't know if the fact that he played at Boston before and he he lost his lucky charm. I don't know.
That's part of it. But I think if you look at the numbers prior to the championship, I think Dallas lost like 10 games in a row. They lost 10 games in a row to Boston prior to the championship. So that's kind of my biggest thing in terms of, talking about the matchups. And it's kind of a bad matchup because they lost like 8, 9, 10 straight. The other thing, Kyrie kind of admitted to it. I mean, he's a different kind of player. So, I mean, he played with Boston and, things didn't work out at Boston when, he didn't leave Boston in the best way. And so obviously that got to him, but I mean, you're a professional, man, I mean, unless somebody's spitting on you, then, you hear that on the road every week, every other day. In my opinion, I would think you just get desensitized to it. But, Tyree's a different, I mean, Kyrie's a different player. He's a different kind of guy. So, why am I not surprised? So, with that, man, but we'll see. They got players. I think they got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and I think Holiday locked up for a little while. So, barring major injury, get used to seeing these guys coming back. They'll be all right. So 18. They got 18 chips, man. That's a whole lot.
That's the lead, right? That's maybe one ahead of the Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers got 17, and Lakers fans feeling some kind of way. And I'll be honest, man. I mean, growing up as a kid, I was not a Hawks fan. Okay. I wasn't a Hawks hater, but I wasn't a Hawks fan. I was a Laker fan. It was, it wasn't until a few years back that I really realized that on the Brad Hofer show, because we had a topic like, who your favorite players, bar none. Forget about who you think is the greatest, who's just your favorite players. And all my top 5 favorite players, I think 4 out of 5 are Lakers. So 4 out of 5, something crazy, man. It was Laker players, man. I mean, Dominique is obviously, but I'm naming folk like Kareem and Magic and Kobe and Shaq. Like,
there you go.
Wait a minute, man. It sounds to me like you're a Lakers fan. I think my man Lamont brought that to my attention. I'm like, man. I said, oh man, you got me. I said, you got me. So I came to a realization only a few years back that, you a Lakers fan. Whether you want to admit it or not, you were. And so every time the Lakers played the Celtics, I rooted. It was very easy to root for the Lakers. Very easy for me. Easy. So yeah, so I followed the Lakers through thick and thin, through everything, man, through all the championships with Magic. That was my guy. And then we moved on, and then you had Kobe and Shaq. I thought was one of the best 1-2 tandems in history.
That's true.
So I went, and just followed him along there until Kobe was there. But I wasn't too much, like I said, as of late, I threw a lot of my support behind the Hawks. He went to the Knicks for a couple of years when Dominique left. But not as of late, as a Laker fan, man, or following the Lakers because of, I'm not a big LeBron fan. Not a LeBron hater, but I'm not a big LeBron basketball fan. But I'm a fan of him overall, if that makes sense, because I like what he does off of the basketball court. I think he's a good businessman. I think he cares. I think he cares about the community. He stands up and supports the community when he doesn't have to, and he takes hits forward. And I give him a lot of credit. I'm more of a fan of his off the court than on the court. And that's something that Michael Jordan never did while he was playing ball. He just always, Michael Jordan said the right things, kind of did the right things based on, corporate America and kind of the right thing, which is fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing is wrong with that. That is largely why Mike's been successful. But there were a lot of things that happened in our community that he could have spoke up on, and could have made more of an impact because Michael Jordan said it, but he chose not to. He stayed quiet through a lot of things that happened in the community. But that's his choice, and that's okay. That's really okay. But for me, people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Olajuwon, Magic, LeBron, a lot of guys, man, speak up, about things going on in the community when they just do not have to and may not be popular. Timing is always not perfect. But somebody needs to take a stand and somebody needs to say something, So for me, that means a lot when athletes go out of their way to do things like that. Muhammad Ali, especially, a whole lot of guys. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I agree. LeBron is I guess I look at it from a different angle. I do agree with all of what you just said. He's off the court, and he's very consistent with that. But on the court, I'm saying he was as advertised. Like they were promoting this guy. This kid is gonna be this kid. He came, he delivered, he kept going and did it for years. And what I mean by that is he does cry to the refs and there's some other things, but as far as taking his team to the championship, when he had Cleveland, when they didn't have anybody, he would be the only man on the court playing, and he would take them to the finals or the Pistons. He handpicked them. I'm just thinking about some of the things he did just by being on teams, and he constantly went to the playoffs year after year. His basketball IQ was just very high. So it was just impressive to see someone enter the league at such a young age and be so impactful. And if he jumping out the gym and do some of the things he was doing. So I think he did bring a talent that stood out. You like, wow, how is this young guy doing? I think on one, there was a clip that even Michael Jordan gave him some props, like said, that guy's good. Like he was even impressed at some of the stuff he's done. Now, I'm not saying he's the best to ever do it. I just say it was impressive to watch his piece of work over the years. I know the future's bright looking at Ant-Man and some of these other guys, Giannis and other ones. So we really got some showtime back in the days at the Apollo to look at on the court.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree, man. I mean, that's some strong points, Steve. I agree with those points, man. He was there, and that's probably one of the reasons why I was kind of against it. Cause like, damn, I hate it when the media comes out there and tries to tell me what to think. They like, LeBron's he's the king, he is God on the court. Telling me everything. Like, man, don't tell me that. Let me figure this out on myself. Let me watch him for myself. Just wanted to, man, Drake is the best artist. Drake, this guy coming out of Canada, man, named Drake. He's the man. You got to listen to him. You got to this, that, and the other. Man, let me decide that he's the best. Let me decide for myself. Don't tell me what to think. So that's just, there's probably a lot of my little inner things going on with that. A little inner struggles right there against the media. But yeah, you're right, man. It's advertised and it's not a lot of players come out like that. A lot of players flop, and that kind of thing throughout history. But he's the guy that did not flop. He showed up and showed out every time he had a chance to. And he got chipped. Yeah, he lost a lot, but he won too. So he won on different teams. Won 3 different teams, man. And Miami, Cleveland, and you can say what you want about the bubble when the Lakers, man. But hell, I tell people this. If you're a non-Laker, if your team, if you were the Celtics, if you were a Celtics fan, you would have claimed that victory in the bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have claimed that as number 8 or number whatever, number 18 in the bubble. You would have claimed that one strong. All right. If I'm a Hawks fan, I'm claiming that as our first one. I don't give a doggone bubble, no bubble. We won.
Exactly.
Now, granted, during the bubble, it was close. We almost made it.
Yeah.
Giannis is gone. Next thing, a referee gets in the way and Trey trips over this guy and he's gone. And so they were just a better team, man, and they got us and went to the championship. So, those things happen. But again, while I'm talking about franchises, and I talked about it earlier, it means something when you win double digits and win multiple championships. That says something not just about the player, but it has a lot to say about your front office. And when people move on and the next group, your front office comes and you got to build through the draft. They built this team through the draft. After the Lakers, 3rd round pick, man. I mean, not third, number 3 pick. Jaylen Brown, number 3. Jason Tatum, number 3. They drafted some other players, but they knew when to move on. They moved on from players and they brought the right players in, brought the right coaches in. And so that stuff don't happen by accident. You got to have a formula in your front office, to where when you hire a GM, you got to hire the right GM and the right people in the front office to make and the right presidents to make these decisions on who's the right coach, what deals to make in free agency. And when you do have to pick and build through the draft, who do you pick and why? And who do you build around? What is your identity? And so that's kind of what I'm looking at when I look at the Celtics number 18 win, or when I look at the Lakers, finding ways to get LeBron. Although it is a market. I mean, LA, okay, that helps. LA helps. New York helps. And Boston's not New York, but they got a formula that works. And so that's what I look at, Steve, when we have these kind of things that go on, man, is that, that what formula do we have in Atlanta, or have we ever had in Atlanta that works? Because we haven't even been to a championship, yet alone win one. Yeah. And so, that's kind of my problem when we talk about front offices, where we still trying to figure it out. And these guys winning almost 20. You got 2 franchises winning almost 20, and you got none. And so, I mean, either something's going on with the game of basketball itself, in the underbelly of it, to where certain markets can't succeed, or is it something else? Because, Boston is in a big market. LA, obviously, Chicago got 6, but hey, they got Michael Jordan. They got 6. But I mean, if Atlanta had Michael Jordan, we would at least had 1. So,
at least 1, right? We had to play
at least 1.
At least 1, exactly.
At least 1.
I mean, I just look at some of the missed opportunities when we think about our Hawks. I will do a little mini commercial and say Snicker and the Braves did that formula, and that's how they've been able to grab some championships. But back to the what you were saying.
No, stick on that. Stay on that. Stay
Okay.
on that thing. Stay. You
Okay.
on to something. You on to
Yeah.
something.
So that formula and having those players. I mean, even when we grab Smokes, that's before Snicker, but I'm just giving an example that formula that seemed like the Braves have been the only ones that have been able to deliver. Unless we want to count Holyfield taking down Tyson, but and Atlanta United taking them winning. But other than that, the Braves have been able to come up with a formula to make the right recruits and get some guys from the farm league and just figure it out and have some winning seasons and actually take the ship, they've done it for us.
Yeah, they be competitive every year.
Mm-hmm. So that pedigree it stood out with the Braves, but the other franchises hasn't quite figured it out yet. We've broken some records and we've had some exciting seasons and over time, even the Hawks, but definitely the Falcons with Madden that year that he had with Shanahan. We were taking the Patriots. We played good for those 3 quarters, but but going back to the Braves, they've had some rough time. The Phillies have given them a run and keeping up with the Mets, but they still have reached the pinnacle. Been able to hoist the trophy. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And look, man, you hit the nail on the head, Steve. I mean, look, Braves is excellent. Braves is just an excellent example in terms of because back then we had sure hopes, and so you got a totally different front office, but you kind of run it the same way, in terms of having the correct formula, knowing who to pick. I mean, you go from Chipper Jones to Freddie Freeman. Who's the the pillar of your franchise, who's the face of your franchise, who you're building around. Get some solid pitching in here. What does your farm system look like? Finding and getting people like Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ibis and Austin Riley, those kind of players. And so to be able to get those players, I mean, to even pick up your pitching with Spencer Strider and Max Fried, those guys, man. And so Braves have a winning formula. You're always, a threat to kind of be a championship contender year in and year out right now. I remember when the baby Braves, we were not like that, but yeah, you're right. And I think, on the college level, I think Kirby Smart in Georgia is there now, where it's championship or bust, and so he's got kind of like the secret sauce in terms of what it takes to recruit the right kinds of players and the right type of coaching staff and the right type of recruitment to kind of, to be a championship contender year in and year out, man, to where, for a long time, we've been looking at Saban for years. He's the guy who had it all figured out. And Georgia was just on the outside looking in. You were competitive, but, it was we just couldn't get past Alabama. The system went in our favor, this, that, and the other. But now Kirby's figured out what that is. And so you look at our other teams and you hope that the Falcons have figured out kind of what it is, what is that secret sauce in terms of, what it takes to be successful. Have we got the right quarterbacks? Have we got the right pieces around the quarterback? And do we have all of those things, so Terry Fontenot and crew, time will tell. Time will tell.
It's true.
And I think in between shows, the Falcons finally, I think we finally found out our fate in terms of the Kirk Cousins thing.
There you go.
So I ain't mad at all. 250 and a fifth, I ain't mad at all.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I want to say that I don't want to be extremely overzealous and hopeful, but at the same time, I do like the strategy that they've been approaching to try to build, around Kirk. And Kirk, like I said, he when I think of the way he throws the ball, he does throw when you're in stride as opposed to not, making it or being overthrown or just not thrown at all. I mean, so I think that will kind of help with the receiving core, and also we should have some good plays with our running back as well. So let's see. But at the same time, we still, as we if we what should I say, lick our chops on the offense, we still got to look back at that defense and say, okay, we got to stop somebody now. We're not gonna be so that's kind of like the one that had you scratching your head. Okay, we're looking at the draft, and I know we can't just grab all of our starters from the draft, but we're looking at the cornerback positions and some of those skill positions, and then that's kind of where the fans are. But let's see if something. We still hopeful that this is gonna work. We're gonna go deep. We're gonna win the South. I mean, I think there was someone, I don't know who it was, that said we were slated to be one of the top 4 in the NFL. I don't know if you heard that.
No,
I don't mean just the Falcons. Yes, it was the Ravens, the Falcons, and 49ers, and I'm missing someone else. Eagles, I think. I could be wrong with that other one. Yeah.
Wow.
And they were saying that, wait a minute, we might be jumping the gun, but that's just how much they believe in Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. I mean, Kirk Cousins is, he isn't. We finally have an NFL quarterback. I mean, a proven NFL quarterback. Keep him healthy, keep him upright, man. He'll, we can get some wins behind him unless it's a night game. I don't think he does great with night games for some reason. But outside of night games, man, I think this guy's competent. He won't. I mean, a lot of the games that we lost because of the quarterback, that won't be the case. We're going to be running a whole new offense. We're going to run the ball more. That keeps your quarterback upright too. So I think the Falcons should be in pretty good shape. We just don't know about that defense. But let's just hope that the offense put a lot of points on the board, and we'll go from there. Yeah, we'll try to do that, man. We'll try to do that. So we're gonna have a lot of Falcons talk coming up in shows to come next few weeks. OTAs right around the corner. And you're gonna make your way up Flowery Branch.
I need to see the guys. I think I want to see this core of players. Not that I wouldn't have gone any other year, but I think I would have take a look and see what the coach is cooking. He said, the tier of excellence. So I want to try to catch something.
Yeah. I'm hoping that construction will be done. Because I know that fans couldn't make it up there because of construction month or so ago, but I hope that construction's done. We probably get a chance to go up there and check them out. From what I've been hearing, I know that Penix Jr. has really been looking good spinning that ball, man. But if you've been watching college football, and I probably watched more college football last year than I have probably in my life because I caught a lot of West Coast games. And part of those West Coast games, I think I saw Washington play maybe a total of 5 games, which is a lot for West Coast for me. And I started him. I like Penix. Ball placement is excellent. I like the way he puts a spin on it. IQ is very high. I like him a lot. I think, man, that guy looks good. I know we ain't gonna get a chance to get him. He's going early, and
there you go. I was thinking the exact same.
I was like, man, we ain't gonna get him, so we get somebody else. But when that draft happened, I wasn't expecting to get him. And so I was trying to get a defensive player again. I'm trying to get a defensive guy here, help us out. But then we picked him, which I think I wasn't upset. I was just shocked, And once I thought about it, I was just shocked. I wasn't mad. I was just shocked. So, you fast forward, man, and I'm just like, okay, I get it, and we got a quarterback here and got him on the cheap. And I think he's going to be good. You just need to make sure that you get since he's a left-handed quarterback, make sure you get a right tackle that's pretty strong, protect his blind side. So
I agree.
That's my thing. So you got to be thinking ahead that way with your offensive line. But I'm good with it, Steve. I'm good with it.
I agree. Yeah, I wanted to see. Let's just see what they're going to bring to the table, and like I say, at least I'm going to take the baby. When I say baby step, let's take the South and let's go from there. Let's at least get the South, and I think we got a chance.
Yeah, we got a good chance to get in the South. We had a good chance last year to get in the South with poor quarterback play, which
true.
Which makes me a lot more confident this year in what we're doing. I think that Rod knows Tampa, so Tampa really hadn't changed that much since he's been there, and so I think we're going to have their number. I think that's a sweep. We're going to get Carolina. I don't see that as a very big problem. Shouldn't have lost to them last year.
In the mud.
In the mud, right. Throwing off your butt. So, and the Aints always, that's usually always a split. But I don't know, man. We got to sweep them coming up soon, man. If not this year, next year, I feel a sweep coming on them Aints, man. I think they're going to be a whole lot worse than what people think, man. I think that defense is getting older.
There you
the
go.
Offensive line still crappy. Kamara, he trying to get up out of there. He left training camp last week. Quarterback play is blah. And so they're in a world of hurt, man. They're in a world of hurt.
There you go.
So we should run away with this thing, man. We should run away with it. That's just my thought as a football. Last year, I didn't know what we were going to do. I was just lost. But this year, we should run away with this thing. Even with an unknown defense, we should run away with this thing. So
I agree.
Yeah. So we're going to get into it a little bit heavier. We're going to deep dive into these Falcons as we get closer and closer to preseason and how we getting this stuff done, man. So, look, we at it, man. Back against the wall. Time. I think it's our time, Steve. Okay. And brother, man, time flies, man. When you come on the show, time flies, brother. Time flies, man. So I sure appreciate you coming in, man, and pitch hitting for us, man, like you do, man, from time to time, man. I'm glad you was able to get in on the new format tonight, man, and and just join us, man, if you can, man, at least on the chat, man, and join the show, man, and be part of it, man. We always better when you part of the show, Steve.
Hey, we're going to do that. And I appreciate it. I do like the new format.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, good deal. We're going to see if we're going to try and get Lou back. Lou's trying to get used to our new format. So we're going to try to get Lou on here and get him situated, him and Diane and the whole crew of it. And we're going to get it in. We're a little different. And so we are, we got links, and we put the links in the Bread and Hover Show group page. I may just put on my regular Facebook page too, in addition to that. So people can either come in and join and listen to the show on YouTube or however you catching the show. So with that said, Steve, till next time, appreciate you, brother.
No problem.
And, thanks to everybody for tuning in and joining in the show. And those who may be watching the recording of the show, appreciate you. Until next time, speak on it.
Hey.